Whitwam, a senior writer and developer for Extreme Tech, says in an article on February 1st, 2019, that Electronic Arts, also known as EA, made around $1.2 billion in their last quarter, with around $780 million of that coming from microtransactions, and only $260 million coming from actual game sales. A microtransaction is when a user in a game purchases a virtual good or item with real money. Many of you play video games, whether it be on your phone, console, or computer. They're popular around the globe, and many people spend money in them. I will discuss both the positives and negatives of microtransactions in video games. First, I will discuss the positives of them, and second, I will discuss the negatives. Let's begin with the positives. Microtransactions can often help companies. Many times, these companies offer free games with transactions in them. A huge example of this lately has been the game Fortnite. It is a free-to-play game with many microtransactions in them. You can buy skins and other items, but the main thing is that these are only cosmetic and do not affect any change to the game or the way that the game is played. This is one of the reasons that the game has blown up so much. Another big example of this is many phone games. Often they are free to play with in-game purchases in them, such as Candy Crush. Some of these companies have really helped out in the gaming industry. Mike Calagrossi, a financial writer and media business owner, says in an article for Investopedia on October 17, 2018, that the gaming industry made $43 billion in 2018. Now that I've talked about the positives of microtransactions in video games, second, I'll talk about the negatives. Many games are referred to as pay-to-win or pay-to-play games. A huge example of this lately has been the game Star Wars Battlefront 2. They released news that they were going to put characters in the game that you would be able to buy. The main problem with this was that you would be able to have an advantage over the free characters. This obviously was a big problem and caused a huge backlash in the community. It was so bad that EA was forced to take out all microtransactions before the game was even released to the public. Many people consider these transactions as a form of gambling, especially loot boxes and packs where you don't know what you're going to get in them. You could compare it to playing a slot machine, as you put in money and you hope to win big, but oftentimes you waste your money and don't get anything out of them. This is also very common in sports games and even Call of Duty, where you can buy packs and loot crates. You spend lots of money to try to get the player or item that you want, and oftentimes you don't get them. Some people spend a lot of money trying to just open more and more and more until they get what they want. This oftentimes hurts the casual player that doesn't want to spend money in the game. They aren't as good as other players since they haven't spent money in it, and oftentimes have to grind for hours and hours to try to have an even playing field as the people that have spent a lot of money. Just yesterday, a huge story broke. Emily Birnbaum, a senior writer for The Hill, says U.S. Senator Josh Hawley has proposed a bill that would ban manipulative features in games that push children to become addicted to technology. He would like the Federal Trade Commission to enforce a ban on all loot crates and other pay-to-win features in video games that are targeted at children. This would be like targeted at many sports games that children play where they have packs to buy. If this were to go through, this would be a huge change in the gaming industry. First, I talked about the positives of microtransactions in video games. Second, I talked about the negatives of microtransactions. Today, I discussed both the positives and negatives of microtransactions in video games. So next time your favorite game has a brand new item and you really want to buy it, take some time to think about it and see if it's really worth buying it.